Okay, today I'm going to show you how I make loaded baked beans, or some people call them Cowboy baked beans. I'm going to start with one 28-ounce can of baked beans with brown sugar and bacon in it. I also have another 16-ounce can. Sometimes I like to add brown sugar or extra brown sugar as well. It just depends on how it tastes. Here I have 1 pound of breakfast pork sausage. You could also sub that with seasoned ground beef. I do that sometimes. Here I have chopped or diced chipotle peppers in adobo sauce. I'll be adding like a tablespoon. I'm also going to be adding some stone ground mustard. A lot of people like to use yellow mustard. You definitely can do that. I'm also going to be adding some barbecue sauce. Here I have some fresh aromatics, well, some fresh. This is 1 tablespoon of dehydrated minced onion. You can opt for fresh, and half of a bell pepper that I have in my fridge that I'll be using, and a variety of seasonings and spices. Let's get started. In a preheated pan, I'm going to add my breakfast sausage, and I'm also going to add my fresh diced bell pepper. I'm going to give the breakfast sausage and bell pepper a head start to make sure that it renders natural juices and some of the fat. Then I'm going to add my dehydrated minced onion, and it's going to basically hydrate with all those pan juices and rendered fat. So depending on the type of breakfast sausage you use or the brand, sometimes they have a high fat content and render a lot of fat. So if you do have a lot at the bottom of your pan, just remove most of it and leave a little behind. But as you can see here, I really don't have a lot of fat that rendered, so I think I'm okay. Now I'm going to add the rest of my ingredients. Here I'm just going to add both cans of beans into the pan. Now I'm going to add 2 tablespoons of my barbecue sauce. Any store-bought works, or your favorite, and a lot of the ratios of these ingredients are up to you. I'm going to add a tablespoon of my stone ground mustard, a tablespoon of my chipotle peppers, and the next ingredient I'm going to add is ground cinnamon. Some people will opt to leave this out. You can do that. I'm going to add just a touch of that, maybe 1/8 of a teaspoon of ground cinnamon. I'm also going to add a half teaspoon of smoked paprika, a 1/4 teaspoon of cracked black pepper. Now you'll want to give everything a mix and a taste. By the way, I have this on a low heat setting. You actually could probably turn it off at this point and start preheating your oven. You can bake this at 350 degrees Fahrenheit. I'm opting to go for 400 degrees Fahrenheit for about 30 minutes because I have to bake some cornbread muffins alongside it, so I'm just kind of all over the place with the temps. So after tasting it, I think it does not need any more sweetness added. Taste buds are funny that way, but you can definitely add a tablespoon of brown sugar in the mix. I am, however, going to add just a couple splashes of Maggi, which is a seasoning sauce. Now you'll want to give it a mix, give it another taste, and adjust everything to your preference. If you want this extra spicy, you can definitely add some more of those diced chipotle peppers in adobo sauce. It really does add a wonderful spicy smoky flavor to these beans. Okay, so I'm working with a 2-quart dish, maybe a 2.5 quart, and I'm using clean hands, and I'm going to add 1 or 2 tablespoons of softened butter to my baking dish. Now I'm adding all of my beans into the baking dish, and I will be baking this for about 30 minutes at 400 degrees Fahrenheit, or until everything is just bubbling, cooked, and a little browning on the top. I will be baking this uncovered. I'm making soft corn muffins today, so I'm going to start with a 1/2 cup of self-rising flour, a 1/2 cup of self-rising yellow cornmeal mix, a teaspoon of sugar. I'm going to give a quick mix to the dry ingredients. I'm going to add 1 large egg. And now I'm going to add buttermilk. You can start with 3/4 of a cup, and if you think it needs more, add a tablespoon at a time. I kind of eyeballed things today. Before I forget, I'm going to add a tablespoon of cooking oil into the mix, or you could add 2 tablespoons of melted butter. Now I'm just going to make my cornbread muffins. Here I have a buttered muffin pan, and I'm just going to use a scoop and divide it into 6 muffins. You probably could get around 6 to 8 muffins with this recipe. I'm just kind of going to overfill these a little bit to get 6. So I'm baking these at 400 degrees Fahrenheit for about 15 minutes or until they're done. So after about 35 minutes or so, the beans are done. So today we kind of skipped lunch. It's not quite dinner, but we're hungry. So I decided to make these beans with cornbread, and I was going to make some steamed rice, but my husband just said, give me the beans and cornbread. So that's what I did. Whether you're making this at home or taking this to your next barbecue or party, it's always going to be a hit. And it can easily go from a fabulous side to an excellent meal. I hope you give this recipe a try. I hope you like it, and thanks for watching.